I know I meme about it of like, take all their pain and suffering and give it to Donald. But I meant it, take all their pain and suffering and give it to Donald. Honestly, I've been on like a huge D2 kick again. I don't know why. Or Destiny 2. I did end up caving and I got the new DLC. Literally when I got back from my party, I tried hopping on because I know a lot of friends have been playing. And I was like, you know what can I get away with playing without spending $100 on this DLC? And after 2 hours, I finished pretty much everything I could, which was just Crucible matches, Gambit matches, Vanguard stuff, Onslaught. And I'm like, crap. Well, the new DLC looks good and the raid race looks fun. So I ended up caving, and the DLC and the annual pass or the season pass, which allows me to get all the activities for this next year, $100. Sorry, $106, which is wild. It is wild. I will say, from a playing experience, I loved the campaign. It was really, really good. It was really challenging for a legendary playthrough or legendary difficulty I played on. And a bunch of the activities I know just open up for the seasonal content. So I'm really looking forward to giving that a shot when I can later. That's pretty much what I've been doing recently. I did just finish the campaign today though, and I will say it was very, very good. It was a nice love letter ending to the Destiny franchise, which is really like, I'll say it, I love getting to experience things over the span of many, many years. Because here's the thing, like, I started Destiny, the game. It came out when I was in high school. Like the beta for Destiny, the game, the alpha and beta, which I ended up playing on my PlayStation, came out during the summer. I played Crucible, played a couple of missions with friends. I'm like, oh my God, I love this. I can't wait for the game to come out. And here we are now at the end of the whole story that they were trying to put together with it, with the Light and Dark saga, with everything in Destiny, with the Witness, the Traveler, the Light, the Dark, the Pyramid ships, which literally, I'm not even joking, in the download screen for the Destiny 1 beta, not Destiny 2, for the Destiny 1 beta, for the loading screen when you'd be downloading the game so you could play it, there was literally concept art of those triangle ships, the Black Fleet, literally there at the beginning of Destiny, before the game even released. So going into it and then getting to this point and seeing the whole thing wrap up and realizing, like, you know, even though everything's not really answered and there's still, you know, there's still gotta be conflict, Light and Dark and all that, the main thing that was the build up for the past few years is finally solved. It's like how I felt when I played through Kingdom Hearts 3. As much as Kingdom Hearts 3 was a disappointment, like, that was a decade in the making. At least a decade in the making for a story. It feels weird seeing it all wrap up and be done now, but it also feels good. Like, it's bittersweet. Like, yeah, we had a really good ending, a really good send-off, but now it's like over, and I'm like, God damn it. Well, what's the next new thing that they're doing? What's the next new thing that's gonna happen? And that's something that I've really been paying attention to recently, because this whole experience, not just with Destiny, but many other franchises, movies, TV shows have done this, where there is a build-up in story with all these characters, all these different movies for like years, a decade at least. You saw this with Marvel, with the whole Infinity War saga, and the build-up beforehand with the Avengers series, the side movies, all these movies that build up to this one big moment with Thanos and everything. That's spectacular. I love seeing that. Same thing with Destiny. There's all this build-up for the past few years, even if they didn't plan on it and it just kind of worked out in the end. It was great. I loved getting to see and hear about all this with like the darkness, the light, the Witness and everything. And same thing happened with like Kingdom Hearts, even though it was supposed to not be convoluted, it became convoluted with Kingdom Hearts and then all these mobile games and then all these handheld games, and then it ended with this big bang. As much as it was shitty, it was still a surreal feeling to get to see this all wrap up after like a decade. That's a long amount of time. I like having these experiences that like take a long amount of time and then you can realize, oh yeah, I've been with the franchise for this many years now and now it finally wrapped up, and it's like, whoa, I've been enjoying this whole goddamn series and franchise for over a decade. I'm an entirely different person now. So who knows what's going to be the new thing whenever a new franchise happens that wants to try this whole 10-year process for the story, for developing a universe and lore. Because then I'll be probably like, what, 35, 36 looking back at some of these franchises and being like, whoa, I started this when I was in my mid-20s and here I am now. I don't know if that's like a lifetime-like experience, but I like those. It's been something I've really enjoyed and come to appreciate recently. So yeah, that's my whole take on Destiny. As much as like, yeah, it's complicated with how it is and if it's good or not, or if it's complicated, but I like seeing things have a huge payoff in the end for the amount of weight and the amount of time that it does to build up a lot of these universes and stories and lore and everything. Like I ended up seeing, like, after the final mission in Destiny 2, this like cutscene of all of these characters we've come to meet, gotten to know in the DLCs and the season passes and all these many different events have like a really good ending. Like what happens after like the war and everything. What happens like when they're finally not doing all the Guardian stuff. And I'm seeing all these like screen pictures and animations and this little cutscene of all these characters having a good, happy ending. And I'm just like, this is what I've wanted. Like this makes me so happy beyond belief. That's exactly how I felt in Kingdom Hearts 3. As much as the game was shit and I really hated it, in the moment I was like, you know what? I just want the Birth by Sleep trio, the 358 over 2 days trio, all these characters that have been lost to time and are literally suffering to have a good ending. I know I meme about it of like, take all their pain and suffering and give it to Donald, but I meant it, take all their pain and suffering and give it to Donald. So it's like, I love seeing that for all these stories doing that. You don't think about like the journey in the grand scheme of it at the end. You don't think about, okay, the end of this story, the end of this world in terms of like the game or in terms of the universe or franchise. You're usually there thinking about the journey or the experience in the moment. So when you get to that big finale in the end, when I was watching that cutscene in Destiny 2, like I cried. It's just one of those things where I'm like, this is nice. Like this is the happily ever after I didn't realize I wanted till I'm seeing it happening. Like you literally, like I don't know why too. Like I saw the cutscene of like Saint 14 and Osiris together, which also love those two. I love those two as a couple. And I see them like holding each other in the cutscene. I'm like, oh, because there was like a whole goddamn DLC and a whole goddamn season in Destiny 2 dedicated to those two, trying to bring Saint 14 back, trying to bring Osiris back, and now both of them are alive and well and have a happy ending. And it's like, oh, this is what I wanted. This was it. And that goes for pretty much like every other character out there, like with Crow, with Marasov, with the Vanguard, with Elsie and what's her name? Stranger and whatever the other one's name is that had the hots for the Mars AI thing. I don't know. Look, I don't know. I'm kind of behind with my Destiny lore and story. But point being, like, just having that final moment where it's like, it's over and everyone can relax finally. It's like, there's finally a rest. That's what I love. And it might not be the perfect ending either. It really might not. We might look back at like the Destiny 2 ending in the final shape. We might look back at this DLC in the campaign and think, oh, I really wasn't that good. But for what it did at the end, like I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that. And same thing went with the whole Marvel Infinity War saga with the Avengers. Same thing went with Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Kingdom Hearts franchise. You know, as much as the execution of how they do the big finales might be hit or miss, it's still just a matter of understanding, like, look, we've been on this journey for years now. Everyone in these like franchises who's been a fan of it has a fan of some character, someone they really connect to that they want to see have like a happy ending or want to see it all wrapped up and the good guys win. And we end up kind of getting that in some way, shape, or form. And so that's why I really hope there's more of a push in the future for franchises or for stories and universes to kind of do this, you know? And I know it's going to be a hard buildup to get to that point, because I don't even think, you know, the developers of Destiny planned for it to be like a 10+ year thing. I don't really know. I don't know how you go about building that. But I've really appreciated stories that do that more and more. Now, as much as some people might not be a fan of that whole storytelling process, but like, I just like it. I want to see more franchises and like universes build that up, you know? And it's not like, you know, they can really do that. I feel like sometimes it just happens on accident. Like, you could have this plan and it just doesn't really work out, but it's just, sometimes it does.